Well, hey, and thanks for joining me for the Mobile 101 and Enrollment training. This is Steve Fisher, and this is a training that I did at our Ignition event this year, and I hope it will help you get a grasp of our mobile offering and what you need to be doing to sign up mobile customers and how everything works in this industry. So with that, let's jump right in. First of all, we want to talk about the mobile industry. And we are all familiar with what we call MNOs, mobile network operators. Those are the big four: AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon. They own the networks. And then in the industry, you have what's called MVNOs. Those are the mobile virtual network operators, and they lease access to the networks. Now, some that you may be familiar with are Metro PCS, Cricket, Virgin Mobile. And what's interesting about these companies, if you talk to their customers and ask them, who's your mobile carrier? For instance, if you ask a Cricket customer, who's your mobile carrier? They'll say Cricket. If you ask a Metro PCS customer, who's your mobile carrier? They'll say Metro PCS. Well, there's a new kid on this block, and the name is Stream. So you want to ask, if your customers are being asked who's their mobile carrier, what do you want them to say? We want them to say Stream. So here's what we want to talk about today. There's actually two networks in the country, two technologies that are used, CDMA and GSM. And the best way to understand the difference between these two is if in your car, if you open up your car door, you'll see a VIN number, right? And there's no other car in the world that has the same VIN number as your car. Well, it works the same way with CDMA. Your phone has a number, and there's no other phone in the world that has the same number as your phone. Well, with GSM, it's with your SIM card. Okay, so it's attached. That number is attached to your SIM card, and that's the main differences between the two networks that we're going to talk about today. There's some other differences with international calling and all of that, but just understand the main difference to understand is that CDMA is attached directly to your phone. GSM is connected through the SIM card. So Sprint and Verizon use CDMA. GSM is AT&T and T-Mobile. Now remember those companies that we talked about before, the MVNOs like Boost Mobile and Virgin Mobile, they use only the CDMA network. Cricket and Metro PCS use only the GSM network. And what we're happy to announce is that Stream is making it available for both to our customers. So that's awesome news. We can give our customers better options and better choices, and we're able to offer them both the GSM and the CDMA network. Now, this is a map of our GSM network, what we call the blue network, and you can figure out which one that is. And here's the map of the CDMA yellow network. Now, it's important that you choose the network that's best for you. And I always like to point out that with the big four carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, Sprint, there's places in the country, all four of those have places in the country that their service doesn't work. And it's important for you to understand that. There's not any one of the major four carriers that works everywhere. And so you have to choose for your customer or for yourself which is the best network for you that works best in your area. All right. Now, the great news is with our CDMA and GSM offering, we're covering 99% of the country. So we've got great options for our customers. And here's some highlights. We have individual and shared plans, nationwide long distance, 4G LTE nationwide services, auto Wi-Fi offloading, which I'll discuss, flexible device compatibility. Now, here's some expectations you need to understand about our GSM network. First of all, visual voicemail is not currently supported by Stream's GSM network. And for instance, with an iPhone, I have an iPhone, so easy for me to explain. Let's say I got 5 voicemails on my phone. I can actually look at my voicemail and I can see who left the voicemail with their name and number. And I could actually listen to the 5th voicemail first if I wanted to. So that's something that is not available with Stream's GSM network. And so I always say, if that's something that is important to you, that you can't live without, then our GSM network might not be for you. You might want to look at the CDMA, which we'll talk about here in just a minute. Another item that's not available on our GSM network is the mobile hotspot on AT&T devices. So if you're bringing an AT&T device over to the Stream GSM network, the hotspot will not work on our GSM network. And that's just if you're in an area where you need to be on Wi-Fi and there's no Wi-Fi available. If you have a hotspot on your phone, you can use your phone as the Wi-Fi spot, but that will not work on AT&T devices with our GSM. And then our MMS messaging capabilities. Now, this is for Apple only, and MMS includes texting, pictures, video, and group messaging. That is not currently available or supported on our GSM network. Now, there are some apps and some workarounds that you can use, such as WhatsApp or even Facebook Messenger is a great choice to be able to do all of these things on an iPhone on our GSM. But we want to make it clear that what you currently do with your MMS messaging capabilities on the iPhone does not work on our GSM network. And so again, if this is something that's important to you and something that you can't live without, don't want to live without, then our GSM network might not be for you. And what I teach is, if you're an associate and you're going to sign up a customer and they're sitting there with an iPhone, you want to make sure they're aware of these issues right here before you sign them up so that they can make an educated decision whether this is the right thing for them. And I always let them choose. And this is the way I present it, is just let me know if these things are important to you. And then I discuss these items and they'll tell you, yeah, that's important to me. I want that. Or they may say, no, it's not important to me and I don't care. And they can still go ahead and sign up with an iPhone on our GSM network as long as they understand these things will not be available. Now, the great news is with our CDMA, there's no limitations. So all those things that I just mentioned do work on our CDMA network. And so here's some things that you can share with your customers, some advantages with our mobile offering. We have unlimited talk and text, flexible monthly data packages, data overages just $0.015 per megabyte. Now, this is what I was talking about earlier, data offloading. And a lot of people may not understand, well, what is data offloading? The best way to understand it is it's freeloading, right? So when it comes to data offloading, you want to become a freeloader. And by that, I mean, like if you're at a Starbucks or a Panera Bread or a place that has Wi-Fi, you want to make sure your Wi-Fi is on your phone. That way, you're using their network instead of your own phone's network when it comes to data. And the best way to know whether you're using this is up in the top left-hand corner of your phone. If it says 4G or LTE or anything like that, that means you're using the data on your phone. If it has this little symbol with 4 bars rising up, that's the symbol for Wi-Fi. And that will show that you're actually on Wi-Fi and using Wi-Fi. And this is important to keep track of and make sure that when you're in a Wi-Fi area, and this can even be in your own home, because if you're in your own home and you have a Wi-Fi network, you want to be using the Wi-Fi network, not your own phone. You don't want to be using the data on your phone. So that helps you save from, going over your data limit. But if you do go over your data limit, the great thing about Stream is we only charge $0.015 per megabyte. We don't charge by the gigabyte. And I'll explain that with a slide here in just a minute. We also have no contracts, which is great. $35 non-refundable activation fee, which is very low in the industry. Credit check performed for all customers, and no termination fees if you leave Stream, which with all this, with the no contracts and no termination fees, I think this is awesome to be able to go to people and say, hey, just try this service out. We can save you some money, and it doesn't cost anything if you want to switch back, right? So good news there. Now, here's some plans that we have with our GSM network. This is our individual plan. So you can see it starts with 0 gigabytes, $32 a month. That's if somebody was using no data. And all the way up to 5 gigabytes at $78.50 per month. Here's the individual plan with CDMA, which is 1 gigabyte at $30 a month, all the way up to an unlimited plan at $65 a month. And then here's the shared plans with GSM, 5 gigabytes all the way up to 20 gigabytes, whatever works best for your family. And then with the CDMA, same thing, 5 gigs all the way up to 20 gigs. You can see a little bit better pricing on the CDMA network. And it's important to understand that each additional line, this pricing includes the plan plus the first line only. So each additional line would be $15 per line per month. And we do obviously have a minimum of 2 lines and a maximum of 10 lines. So important to understand, this is, you know, we're not set up really for commercial with wireless. So if a business has 30 phones, you know, we're not capable of handling that. We're not set up for that. We're really geared towards the residential 10 lines or less. Now, with our shared plans, here's an example, 4 lines on 10 gigs powered by our CDMA network. All right, so you can see that the data plan plus the first line is $95. And then for each additional line, $15 per month. So the monthly total will be $140. And then I mentioned earlier the no fear of data overage. And this is an example of a customer on 2 gig single line plan with Stream versus Verizon. And I love the breakdown of this so you can get an idea of how we're actually saving our customers money. If you go 500 megabytes over, how much do you pay with Stream? $7.50, because it's 500 times a penny and a half. But with Verizon, same customer, 500 megabytes, they round up to 1 gig. Okay, so with them, it doesn't matter if you go over 1 megabyte. They're going to round you up to a gigabyte and charge you $15 per gigabyte. So let's look at what that looks like in a real world bill. So here's the customer with a 2 gig plan. Data usage is 500 megabytes over, so they use 2.5 gigabytes. With Stream, that was $7.50. Verizon, $15, and the total bill with Stream came out to $47.50 compared to $90 with Verizon. Pretty significant savings there. And if you look at it on a shared basis, so let's say a family that's using the 10 gig plan, well, with Stream, that's $95 plus the additional lines, $45, and the data overage, $7.50 for a total of $147.50. And with Verizon, wow, $300. Look at what they're charging for the additional lines. Look at what they charged for the additional data, because what they did with that data is they charged $15 per gigabyte, but they charged to each line. Okay, even if just one line went over, they were charging each line. So guys, it's important to understand what's going on in the industry so that we can show our customers how they can save money by being on Stream. Now, here's some device options with Stream with our GSM network, a compatible GSM device that must be unlocked, not associated with collections or reported lost or stolen. Okay, so they can bring a phone over to the GSM network as long as it's unlocked and not associated with collections or stolen, or they can buy a device from the Mobile by Stream store. Okay, now with the CDMA network, same thing. They can purchase a device from the Mobile by Stream store, or if they want a new iPhone, they can go to the Apple store and buy a Sprint certified iPhone purchased direct from Apple, and they can bring that phone over to the CDMA network. And those are the options for phones on the CDMA network. Now, if they are bringing an iPhone over, it's important to understand they cannot web enroll at this time. So I'll show you how that process works. And if anyone asks the question, can I keep my number, my existing number? The answer is always yes. Okay, in the mobile store, they can buy the device at full retail price, or they can purchase with an installment plan, a 24-month financing with upgrade eligibility option. To find the rates, just go to your website, your Stream Home site, and scroll down, and you'll see the mobile rate sheet down at the bottom. View mobile rate sheet. They can just click on that button, and it's going to pull up the rate sheet where you can see all of our mobile rates, both on the GSM network and on the CDMA network. All right. Now, when you want to enroll a customer, it's important to make sure that you're on your home site. You don't want to go to mystream.com website. That's the corporate website. You want to make sure it has your handle.mystream.com, and make sure you're on your personal website. You see your picture up there, or at least your name and information up in the top right hand corner. And then understand that it defaults to mobile services, okay? Because we're nationwide, so we want our nationwide customers to be able to easily sign up for mobile just by clicking on Request for Service. And that's going to take them to this page where they enter the enrollment portal and they enter their zip code information. And the reason we want them to enter their zip code information is to make sure they're in an area that we have service. So, for example, Hawaii and Alaska, we don't enroll customers in Hawaii and Alaska yet. So it would kick them out at that point. So that's why that zip code information is there. And then once they enter their zip code, they'll choose which network they want, the GSM network or the CDMA network. If they want CDMA, they just scroll down to the CDMA section. And then they choose which plan they want, individual plan or shared plan, okay? And whichever one they choose, it will take them to this next page where they can choose to either shop for phones or bring their own device. Now, in this example, we're going to choose shop for phones so we can show you how the store works and how they buy a phone and what the process is once they buy a phone from Stream. So once they click on shop now, and it's important to, and I'm going to go over this, if they order a phone through the Stream store, their enrollment process will be done at that point. And then once they receive the phone, they'll have to come back and finish the enrollment process on your website. And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But here we go. They're going in. They clicked on Shop Now, and they're going to buy a phone. So they're looking at this HTC Desire phone. And when they click on that, it's going to make it big and they'll see a picture of it, and they can see all the features of the phone, and they can scroll down and see the specifications of the phone. Everything they need to know about that phone is right there, and they can choose, okay, yes, this is the phone I want. So when they say, yes, this is the phone I want, they just add that phone to their cart. And then it's going to take them to the cart, and you'll see that it added that phone to their shopping cart and updated the information with their subtotal there. All right. Now, they click on Checkout Now. All right. And fill in the information, basic information, and then they fill in their payment information, their credit card. And once they've done that, they click on Continue Checkout, and they're done. Now, it's important to understand that once they finish that process and they've bought the phone, then they're done with the enrollment process at that point, and we're waiting on the phone to come, which is 2 to 3 days. They'll get their phone in, and once they get their phone, they need to go back to your website and go through the enrollment process again. Now, as an associate, it's your responsibility to make sure that they do this, right? This is your business. This is your customer. So I always like to set an appointment with my customer and say, hey, your phone's going to come in 3 days. Let's set an appointment, and let me get back with you, and we'll make sure you get through the enrollment process correctly and get on Stream service. And so they go back to your website. They click on Request Service again. This is all going to look familiar to you. They're going to enter their zip code again, and they're going to choose which network they want to be on. and they're going to choose which plan, individual or shared, right? And then it brings them to this page again. And remember, last time we clicked on Shop for Phones, but this time they already have their phone, and so they're going to click on Bring Your Own Device because they want to bring that phone to the Stream network. And now, when they click on that, it's important to understand, and let me just reiterate this, that if they went to Apple and bought an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 6 Plus that is CDMA compatible, they cannot enroll that on the web here. They'll have to call this 800 number. So just make sure if your customer bought an iPhone, you're making them call that 800 number to finish finish enrollment and begin the activation process of that phone. But if they bought a phone from Stream, then they'll come here and they'll need to enter the MEID number. And it will tell them how to do that on their phone. They can just, from the phone keypad, click on *#06#, and it will give them their MEID number. And then they'll also need to enter their ICC ID number, and it'll tell them how to do that as well. Okay, and then they'll choose whether they want a new number or if they want to transfer their existing number. And once they do that, then they're basically done. Okay, they click on Continue. They're going to choose their data plan, and we've highlighted here the and you'll see it put their phone in their cart, all right, at this point because they brought their phone over, and then they're choosing their data plan, and we've highlighted the 3 gig plan that is on special in the month of May. So if you were at Ignition, you heard our CEO announce that they're extending this special offer of that 3 gig data plan on the CDMA for $30 per month. And guys, that is a smoking hot deal. To be able to get 3 gigs for $30, that's just really tough to beat. And so we want to highlight that and encourage if you're listening to this during the month of May, be sure you take advantage of that 3 gig special offer. And then they check out with their plan. Now you're going to see up in the top right hand corner, it put their plan in the cart as well. And so you want to make sure that they got the plan they wanted there. And then they just finish filling out this information, click on Continue, and it will complete their order and add their activation fee. So if they just have one device, then it's $35, and it's $35 per device activation, depending on how many they order. And then they fill out their billing information and click on agreeing to the terms and conditions and place order. And it'll take them to this thank you page. Now, it's important that you make sure that they print off this thank you page because there's some information there they're going to want to have. Their account number is there. It also has the 800 number to call for activation of the phone, and that's something they're going to have to do. Plenty of time to do that with the hours that they have there with this activation, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., and that's Central Time, and then Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So plenty of time to call in and make sure they get their phone activated, and so they'll want to have that page printed off. And here's another page that you can print off in your Power Center, which is a comparison with all the stuff that I just went over, a comparison between the GSM and the CDMA network. And this is great to have to share with your customers if you're sitting down with them, and they can look at this and see what's available on our GSM network and what's available on our CDMA network to help in their decision-making process. So with that, here's some advantages that you want to be familiar with to share as you're talking about mobile by Stream. Complete flexibility. Get your plan and your device your way. We have unlimited talk and text with no contracts, no excessive data overage fees like the other companies, flexible device purchase options, reliable coverage. Choose from 2 of the major national carriers in the country, simplification with the best mobile support tools available, and then premium customer support, North American based, with one of the most experienced wireless industry call centers in the country. So with that, guys, we have one last thing, our Stream Mobile Proficient certification. And there's questions that you can answer in your Power Center that once you can answer these questions, I think there's 22 to 24 questions back there, and these are the most frequently asked questions that you're going to come across in mobile. And once you can answer all these questions, then you will receive a certificate of completion, and this just helps you with having the confidence of knowing that you can answer the questions that you're going to get asked as you go out and talk about mobile. And so I encourage you to go through that in your Power Center, get certified, get all those questions where you know how to answer the questions when it comes to mobile. And most importantly, get out there and start building your business nationwide with Mobile by Stream. And we have customers all over the country signing up for Mobile by Stream. So I encourage you to get busy, and hopefully this training will help you get that confidence that you need to get out and start sharing this information. Thanks a lot for joining us.